Yeah. So, what's how you guys doing? Happy Saturday. And
Happy Saturday.
We're all together for a victory Saturday. Oh, wait, no.
Oops.
Yeah. No. We don't have one of those tonight. So we are the Uncle Puckers, Chris, Dan, Bob, and Tony. Thank you so much for checking us out. We are going to dive into pretty much the game that just ended against the Lightning, which saw the Devils lose 6-3. And we're going to talk about that because I'm still trying to process exactly what it was that I just saw. So
It's kind of like therapy at this point, you know? We're like kind of a therapy group for each other.
Yeah, we are. So why don't we start with Dr. Bob, and you can give us your, I guess, clinical analysis of this game.
Just not enough, man. I mean, first period was
a fourth period is what you're saying.
Yeah,
we should have played a fourth.
I think we should have played a fourth, or just
we probably would have lost 8-3.
Insert that where the second period goes, and then maybe something good could have happened here.
Right.
Don't understand their starts. Don't understand constantly giving up the first goal. A few of the plays tonight were directly on our D. I thought at crucial times too. I thought. The first one was kind of Nemec just standing around, letting Stamkos just poke in that one after we just cut the deficit to 1. That was a bonehead play, not nearly as bad as Ball's perfect pass to Point, which basically ended the game at that point. And even to a lesser degree, Luke Hughes, I know that our goalie was pulled and he was trying to make stuff happen, but just kind of blindly threw that up to the blue line. It was just capped off, and that started the 18 empty netters that they put on. So, we got a lot of guys out, but it just didn't – they just continue to always make 1, 2, or 3 very bad plays and always seem to be taking a period off at least. And it's getting really hard to watch. And, I did look at the lineup today, and I didn't recognize half of the names. At least if in the beginning of the year I wouldn't have. So there's definitely something to that. But there were still a lot of key guys that we did have available. And I was getting really frustrated with them as the game went on. And then Heischer and Bratt and Foley, they all, kind of stepped up. Vitek was absolutely awesome, I thought. I don't think much can be blamed on him.
I think he had 40 shots,
I didn't get a chance to listen. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to listen to what you guys talked about last night. But yeah, something definitely needs to change. Something is still broken.
Tone, your turn.
Well, like Bobby said, looking at the lineup for tonight, it was definitely a lot of Devils we don't know. Just disappointing. Ball, you can't make that mistake. I mean, that to me, that was actually the knife in the back. You
missed it. Good.
That was actually the knife in the back right there. I think, you got to put that on his stick majorly because we were coming back. Who knows if we would have came back? We have 16 comes back this year. We're the second most in the NHL doing it, so we can do it. We know that. But that was just, you can't make that mistake. Like you mentioned, Bob, just too many mistakes. I know there's injuries, and I definitely believe in the injuries are a part of it, but it's also second period sucked, like you said, Chris. Vanacek actually showed up tonight and made some really big saves, but it didn't matter because, just a shit show at the end, man.
When you're losing guys like Jack Hughes and Dougie Hamilton, guys like that, you are losing that offense. But that's no excuse for the way that they play sometimes. They are just so soft, and it's like it is so easy to just wrestle momentum right back away from them. Like there's no killer instinct, when they scored that goal and then just to give it right back to them and make it 3-1 a minute later, like that's happened way too many times. Now, on a positive note, we didn't give up 6 after they scored. So that's good. It took the whole game to give them 6, but usually we do it in a matter of like 4 minutes in the second period somewhere. But yeah, we wasted a good start from Vitek. He looked good, and the guys that did showed up too late. I honestly thought that Alex Holtz was probably the best skater out there tonight. I thought he was making some.
Into that more too.
Didn't it feel like you guys were watching the Devils from like 3 years ago or 4 years ago tonight? It was just disappointing. Just momentum gets pulled out, like you said, right away. It was just
starting to feel that all the time now. I'm getting that vibe for this entire season right now.
They're not fun to watch anymore. They really have turned into just a team that if they did happen, and this is the thing, like you have the opportunity right here, right now. Like everybody's losing. you can forget about a wild card. You can move into the top 3 of the Metropolitan Division, and you just refuse to fucking do it. And they come into this game. I thought they played really good in the first. It's 0-0. But you just kind of, like, as a Devil fan, you're watching and just like if they get the first one, which they will because they always score first on us, any team, not just Tampa, I'm saying. And, we just don't have we don't have any. I know that they don't stop playing. I get that. That was like the big theme of the night. Like, the Devils don't stop. They don't quit. Well, quit. Sure, blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line is you shouldn't be down 2 or 3 goals
it's always too
in the third period.
They don't stop making mistakes.
Yeah.
They're putting that push through, and you're like, where was that push in that second period instead of in the third period when you're already down? Yeah. It's getting very frustrating.
I'm feeling it from other fans, too. I tonight I did not see the game tonight. We went to the Count Basie Theater, saw the Craig Ferguson. So anyway, as it lets out, I'm just hanging out. It was pretty good. I haven't ever seen his stand up, to be quite honest. I just knew him from his old TV show, but
I didn't even know he did stand up.
Yeah, I guess he is, and it was all right. It's pretty good. But I'm in the lobby and waiting for everybody to come out of the bathroom and everything, and I'm just standing there, and I noticed this dude's got a Devil shirt on, not a jersey, but a shirt on. So I just look across. I'm like, dude, what's up with the Devils? And well, first he gave me like, what are you, a Ranger fan? Because nice. We're in New Jersey, so that's always possible that I'm some Ranger fan giving him shit. But I'm like, no, man, I'm a Devil fan. He's like, yeah, I know, it's horrible, So I think the fans are really feeling it. Like, what the fuck? Like, let's get this going already. It's starting to. The frustration is really starting to come out, I think, among everyone. I even hear it and I didn't see tonight's game, but I thought the previous game, they were just the announcers. You could hear like everybody in that booth frustrated with them.
Oh yeah.
It's just, they're just trying to keep down. Like Danico's like, you can't do that. And he's just like, all right. Just, he's trying to.
Dan, you'd be happy if you were a Ranger fan tonight because they won. Carolina won. But, it's really.
I'm not worried about them. I'm looking at the Flyers. They friggin' lost. Yeah. They've been losing. They lost, and we cannot gain any ground. And look, this could be the best thing for the fans to have a week off, to not have to deal with the frustration of this team, whether or not they're going to get their shit together after the All-Star break. I mean, I guess guys are coming back, but it's still something isn't right. There's something, guys, I thought Marino had a really tough game. Maybe Marino... And, we spoke about this at one point, and I'm now pretty much firmly in the camp that the reason that John Marino was traded to us for Ty Smith, but essentially a bag of pucks, is because maybe he isn't that great of a D-man. And last year playing with Ryan Graves really did kind of cement him in that spot because I just don't see it right now.
I don't know. There's no way Ryan Graves could have been making him look so much better.
Hey,
I know. I miss Ryan Graves. I miss him. I'm just saying, Marino was on his own way better than this year. Last year.
But
I don't know what explains it. I don't have an answer for you. But
I think that it had a lot to do with his defensive pairing. There are just certain times that pairings match up. These guys read off each other. They worked very good together. They knew each other's strengths. They knew each other's deficiencies. I don't see that right now with Marino and whoever he's partnering with. And there's just too many young guys on that fucking defense. And that's why the offense has to step up. Yeah. And, we know that we have a really young core. And up until the second period, you're still only down, you only let in 2. You guys were playing, even though we only had 3 or 4 shots in the whole second period, you're still only down 2. You can still win this thing. And I just don't see it. I don't see any compete. I don't see any fight. I just, even Danico tonight's you just got to lay somebody out. You got to I want to see him just something.
He's going to be like, hold on. And you're going to see him he's going to just disappear for 10 minutes and show up on the ice. He's not going to be able to
start taking people out.
Yeah. I can't do it anymore. He throws the headphones down and he's getting out there. I don't know. We could use him.
I love it.
Bobby shared when you shared that lineup tonight, I know it was deflating. I was like, oh man, that's another thing. It's disappointing tonight, but when I saw the lineup tonight, I was not 100% surprised, man. You got,
I didn't have a problem with the lineup. I really didn't.
Dude, if I would have told you that would be the lineup like in the beginning of the season, this time of the year, we would all be
sure, but I mean, it's still when I'm looking at that lineup, I'm still sitting here saying there's enough firepower here that you can go and beat Tampa Bay. It wasn't just
that way.
It wasn't a bunch of slappies. Our top six was together, other than Jack Hughes. They should be able to generate more offense. I know Hollow wasn't there. That we talked about him last night, Dan. Like
right.
Where's he going right now? But there's just there's I'm tired of excuses. I'm tired of all the bullshit. Either something's got to change, or this is what you're going to have this year. This is it.
I'm starting to think this is what we're going to have this year. And people could say whatever about. I'll be like, "Oh, you're crazy," but I have not been that excited this year. It's been a lot.
So Tony, you don't think there are going to be any moves made? You're not seeing it.
Now that we've had some things happen recently where there's a lot of shit there's a lot of question marks now. A lot of shit we didn't have to worry about now, and other teams are now having the same issues. And now goaltending wise, there's other teams in goaltending market now. There's a team in Philadelphia who lost their goalie. There's a lot of competition out there.
Carolina wants a goalie. Sure.
Yeah, so shit has changed so much in the last 7 days. Now the whole trade market has changed. Can we make some moves? Yeah, but do we give, and this is something I heard someone else say, I can't remember who it was actually the other day, maybe Fitzgerald doesn't think this is the year either. Maybe he doesn't want to give up the farm for this year because maybe he believes, you know what, I don't know if this is the team that's going to make a run this year because I kind of feel the same. And I love, like I said, I live and die by the sword with the Devils, but all year I've been kind of head scratching and I haven't had that exciting feeling like I had last year. Last year I was pumped up with them. I was like, man, we can beat anybody. This year, sometimes going into the games, even when I make my predictions, I'm almost like, oh, what am I saying here? Am I just being a homer like Bobby always says? Or am I, and I'm wondering if Fitzgerald's thinking the same thing. Like, how much do you want to give up this year when you don't really believe you're going to get to a certain distance? Because that, in a way, it makes him a smart GM if he's kind of cautious a little bit,
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, does it look like this is the year you go, oh, we're not going to get this chance again. This team is so hot. I have to give them everything they need to go the distance to the Stanley Cup Finals. I think you'd be dreaming right now if you think like this is that team. Yeah, but on the other hand, make a move if you can, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to play devil's advocate on this, but Bobby, go ahead.
I think any trades for me that he'd be doing at this point would be with term. I don't think you would get, okay, I want that goalie and I'll take that defenseman with 1 year. I don't think that makes sense because you just don't know what you're going to get with this team. But if you're getting key pieces with a year or two, at least two, then you can make better decisions. But definitely not like, oh, I'm going to go get one stud D-man who's on an expiring contract. Like, I don't think that's the route.
I completely agree with you. I was actually going to make that point. Unless it's a guy with term or, a couple guys with term, you're not going to go and get them. Unless it's some steal of a rental that you feel like, okay, it's not, you're not giving much up. But whatever, I get your point is absolutely right. My thing is, with the way that we have been playing so inconsistent and up and down all year, and I wonder how much does Tom Fitzgerald and management look at this team and look at it the opposite way of what you're saying, Tony, and says, look, Jack's coming back, Nosik's coming back, Siegenthaler's coming back. If I can get these guys a solid D, Vanacek's been playing better, maybe he gives us a chance. And then you look at the standings and you're like, we hold games in hand over everybody ahead of us, and we're only 4 or 5 points away from not just a wild card, cementing a third place in that division. So I think that as a GM, the only move that I would do before before the games resume, if I was gonna, is maybe look for another coach. But I don't think that that's going to happen, and I don't think that they're going to do anything until these guys come back. I think that they're really going to want to just, let's see at least a week. Let's take, we have a hard-ass schedule coming up. Yeah. And I think that can go one of two ways. I think if these guys come back, this team cleans up some shit, maybe they get themselves a player or not. Because that's the thing that's so frustrating is like all these guys, like, they can do it. So what's the problem? Is it the system? Is it, just everything falling on deaf ears in the dressing room? Is it Lindy Ruff? Is it, I don't know. I have no idea. But I'm just saying that you can look at this team and say, yeah, why not us? We still have, 30 something games to go. We're only a handful of points away. We have a good 2 weeks. We're in there.
I can tell you
So,
my two reasons why. I think it's goaltending, and actually three reasons I can tell you. I think it's defense and being soft. Those are the three things that are going to kill us
but
all
you can
year.
offend all. You can go and fix those problems. You know, I mean,
But what
one
do you
guy
want to
can
give up to do it? That's the problem.
I don't give a shit. I'll tell you, I don't give a shit. I don't.
But
me
are you willing
personally,
to affect next year? Are you willing to take away from this? Are you willing to?
yes,
give up
if
some of the kids we have?
it's absolutely, if it's a defenseman that is coming in with term and he's going to be with us for 2 or 3 years and he's that
that's
muscle,
different. Yeah, I'm
and
talking
he's
about for this season.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm talking about.
No,
for
I
this
don't want a
season,
rental.
yeah.
Who are your untouchables? That's a good question. It leads me to that question. Who are you going to say?
Well,
like,
we
look,
know who
I'm
the
not,
untouchables are. I mean, you know
you can have different untouchables. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, defensively untouchable. Hughes, Ball, Nemec, as far as the guys that are on the ice right now, and you know what? I'll even put Colin Miller in there. I like the way he plays, so I'd say maybe you don't want to move those guys. As far as forward group, of course, you know Heischer, Bratt, Hughes,
You put
Toffoli.
Meyer in there. You put Meyer
I wasn't
in
going
there?
to put Meyer in the untouchable.
That's what I was
one.
curious about.
I wasn't going to put him in the untouchables. I don't think you can move him. I really don't. But I wasn't going to put him in there because it's just. I hope that it changes. I mean, he's with us for a long time, and I do think that he will find his place. But it is taking a lot longer than I think Devil fans really wanted.
Right.
I think Mercer's going to be on everyone's list who they want. I think that's going to be one of the keys.
If it helps this team, and it's going to help this team in a couple years, I have no problem with that.
List last year. It was like Mercer, no, and this is specifically about Meyer. We were saying no, we wanted Meyer really badly, but don't touch Mercer. I think everybody agreed. But wow, what a difference a year makes. He's not even on your list, right?
No, he is not on my untouchable list. He's not. Alex Holtz isn't. Eric Holla isn't. Andre Palat isn't. Those guys aren't on my. If you can move any of those guys, and this is all reckless speculation, of course, but if you can move any of those guys to shore up that defense and give us more snarl, more grit, more just steady defensive hand, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
About bottoms? How about Lazar?
No, he's untouchable.
I mean, I love the way he plays, but untouchable means like untouchable. I mean, I don't know. He might be replaceable out there. I love the way he plays, and he's one of the few Devils this year consistently with heart. So believe me, I don't want to get rid of him.
I think guys like Lazar and Palat, I think they're what they bring, and especially in a playoff series. I think this is absolutely something you do need. Every team needs guys like that. But
I look at the untouchable scenario maybe different than what I'm hearing from you guys. Like I look at there's untouchables if we're a true playoff contender and trying to add a piece or two, and then there's untouchable given the state of the team we're in right now. I only have 4 untouchables: Heischer, Hughes, and Nemec.
I agree.
I don't put Bratt or Meyer in an untouchable list. Was it last week or so? I said I could see one of these situations like a major blockbuster trade like superstar for superstar because it's just not gelling the way we have it working. I'm with you. I believe that Meyer will pay off in the long run, and I love Jesper Bratt, and I think we're a better team with him. But the sum of its parts, something isn't working. So those are only 4 people for me as this team stands. Now, if we were in first place and we were a juggernaut and we were rolling, then I've got some other untouchables like Lazar, like a Palat, things like that, depth guys too that mean so much. But right now, you could blow up most of it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have a problem with it. Like me, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I think this team, that again, back to how frustrating we know how good this team can be, and this, it's just something's missing. That's why I would start with the coach. That's me personally. I would fire Lindy Ruff, but that's probably not going to happen. At least it's not going to happen until we get a lot healthier. And you can get a good look at this team as it was supposed to be put on the ice this year. Or
if we get a lot worse.
Or if we get a lot worse. But I also think, we're missing that snarl. Brendan Smith should be back soon. He adds that. He's our best guy for that. You get another guy in with him that can do that. I think, like I've been saying, Chris Tanev is the guy. I want Chris Tanev, I think. But back to Tony's point about goaltenders, 12 fucking teams want Chris Tanev. So, if you can't make a deal, you can't make a deal because I'm all for a fair trade. I'm all for most guys, anybody that's in that trade. Okay. See you later. but I'm not for giving away the farm for this year. Like
I think that's what teams are going to want for goaltending, don't you, Chris? I think you're pretty much going to get raped for goaltending now. No matter what you do, you're going to have to give up more than you should. I think
there was another name.
Affairs.
There was another name that came up with goaltending as a goaltender, and I don't think he'll be available. But maybe if the Predators are out of the playoff position, but Yossi Saros, I would give away the farm for.
I've heard that a lot this week. Actually,
I would give away the farm for him, but I don't think that they're going to move him. They're in the wild card spot right now. I don't know. I think they lost to Edmonton today, but
Edmonton, man, one more game, right, and they tie the
They tied Pittsburgh's Penguin 17 wins in a row, and crazy. I don't know. I don't have answers. I don't. The compete and all that stuff. It's got to be there for 60 minutes, and maybe this is just really like that's why I believe that with the problems that we see, I attribute to coaching. And I think that, getting a new voice in there can maybe turn the tide of this team and get them to play the way that they know how to play. I don't know.
Yeah, so, any one of these, trades we're speculating about, it just takes one to get dominoes flowing in a different direction anyway. So it's not like it's all or nothing. I mean, you are down, you get rid of one winger, whether it's a young guy like a Holtz or one of a veteran like Toffoli or whoever it is. It's not everything because now you do have a logjam of forwards anyway, people that can come up. So now you're like, okay, let's say hypothetically you trade a Holtz or a Mercer. But now you're targeted. Okay, now we know it's a little easier. We want to sign Toffoli. Right now you're looking at it again like, where are we going to sign these guys? I mean, if you don't move a guy like Holtz, I don't want to see him on the fourth line for the next 3 years. You know what I mean? Like, so when is that going to change? So,
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If Tom Fitzgerald feels like if they decide they want Tyler Toffoli on this team, and because I know that they are talking right now. So if Tyler Toffoli signs a 3-year deal or whatever with the Devils, and we know we got him for the next couple of years, which I'm fine with that. I like Tyler Toffoli. Do you think then Dawson Mercer actually becomes the trade bait? Like then now we can actually start dangling Dawson Mercer out there. He's an RFA. If he walks away this year, you're getting nothing for him. So does it make sense if you can get the pieces or a piece that you feel helps this team now? You have basically, Mercer Sr. locked up for a couple of years. Do you dangle Dawson Mercer? I mean, because then I think that with our draft equity, with our prospects, probably puts us in the best position to make a move for whoever they want than almost any other team in the league. So, I mean, do you feel like if you're worried about Mercer signing, do you trade him then? That's my question. Don't everybody answer it.
I think you answered the question already, Chris. Yeah. You said he's not untouchable, and I agree with you. Of course. I mean, you're saying that if you can get a guy who makes this team better, in light of the fact that Toffoli's doing a lot of what we expected from Mercer this year, who's not doing that, would you say, hey, you know what? We don't even have him for multiple years left in a contract where we could just say, okay, bad season, we'll start again next. You have to make a new deal with this guy, and you might not get. So it totally makes sense that you would look at what the options are. Do you pull the trigger? It totally depends on what the deal is we're talking about. I don't know.
What do you guys think about what if someone calls for Toffoli? Well, he's a guy that these teams making a run you would love to get a Toffoli on your team if you're about to make a run. What do you guys think about that? Because as much as we love Toffoli, you'd probably get a good return on him.
Well, yeah, and go ahead, Bob.
I think that Toffoli, in my mind, was the 1-year stopgap to see if either Mercer or Holtz can really jump up to that next level. Then we're not going to need Toffoli past this year because you're going to keep those guys. Specifically, Mercer is where I thought it would go more so. But if Toffoli's then gone, now you got a more legitimate spot for the two of them. But in light of either one of them doing maybe what they should be, or at least, I mean, in Holtz's case, I just don't understand because he's doing what he should, but he's kind of demoted. So if Toffoli walks, you just kind of fill it in. But if it's Toffoli in a package that gets us Tanev, for example, and then you can slide a guy up like a Holtz.
Send him back to Calgary.
I mean, You gotta look at it that way. It's no one size fits all.
I think you can put a deal together with like a Dawson Mercer and a Nate Bastian and somebody else, and I think you could probably get whoever you want. A prospect, maybe a second round draft pick, whatever. I think you can probably get if you package those guys up. I think teams would definitely be interested in talking to you. But with the way like Dawson Mercer, we don't know what his ceiling is. He may have been his ceiling last year. That might be all we get from him. I think you kind of know what you have with Toffoli. He wants to stay here. It sounds like Fitz wants to sign him, but you're 100% right. If we found out this week that Toffoli was signed to a 3-year deal, well, then all bets are off on all those guys because they all become expendable. Holtz, Mercer, Bastian, they all become expendable.
For me, in a perfect world, because I saw a trade proposal, which I'm assuming is complete bullshit, and I was wondering if one of you guys was going to bring it up to me to see if I would take it. But in short, it was Markstrom and Tanev for Holtz in a first round. And, of course, I would do that kind of in a heartbeat, right? Because we got plenty of forwards that can step in. Regardless, even if Holtz winds up being like a 40-goal scorer. We got
Markstrom and Tanev for Holtz and a first-rounder next year?
Yeah.
Chris has half the team on the bus.
Are you fucking kidding me? I would sign that to the league office right now. I'd sign that over. Absolutely.
The point of it was if Holtz were to go, then, again, I looked at it and said, well, then the best scenario for us would be if you can extend to Foley for like a 2 to 3 and then Mercer for like a 7.
Right.
I still believe in Mercer and what he can bring. That would be the best case scenario. And quite frankly, that is me saying that we can move a guy like Holtz because we've got other pieces that can fill in.
Holtz is going to be a really good player. Wherever he ends up, he's going to be a very good player.
He may be one of those guys that need a change of scenery. He may be one of those kids.
I'm not quite
Everybody in the
there.
Devils this year feels like they need a change of
Yeah,
scenery.
I know. I think Lindy Ruff needs to change of scenery. I mean, that's where I would
Holtz
start.
doesn't need a change of scenery. Yeah. Holtz is doing everything right. Did you guys see that stat earlier? Like, out of Holtz's 12 goals, 8 were the Devils' first goal of the game.
Yeah.
And we have a killer problem scoring the first goal of the game. We've only done it 13 times. So, I mean, there's that aspect
He
of
has
it.
not
He's
been
our
the
best
problem
at
this
even
year.
strength. There's his
times.
production with
He
limited
got ice
minutes.
time tonight, though. He was getting double shifted. He was. They were moving him around tonight.
He has been doing that a lot more with Holtz. I have seen that too, which is why I still get surprised when I see the formation of the lineup. Like Bastian over Holtz in the third line. Just optically and what that generally means for minutes. Why?
But it
not
also,
making sense.
you have to look at it through the Lindy glass of just saying it really doesn't fucking matter because our fourth line can end up playing 18 minutes tonight that fourth line might stay together
for 35 years. That's not how I look at lineups.
I don't understand some of the things that Lindy does, and most definitely what he's been doing with Alex Holtz this year just doesn't make a ton of sense. And I know that fans have been, adamant about that on social media for most of the season. But yeah, I would start with him, but I definitely don't do nothing this trade deadline. I don't think you can't. You made too many moves this summer. You made, locked guys up. This team has high aspirations and they want to reach that summit. To do nothing, I think is just you're just basically throwing in the towel, and I don't think that Tom Fitzgerald is ready to do that.
I think he'll bring in a defenseman, definitely. I think you have to. I think because the fans will it'll be like a fucking riot, You got to do something. How extreme it's going to be, we'll see. But I think definitely you got to at least add something to that defense for the rest of the
year.
So,
Tony, let me ask you this. So let's say you're going to bring in like that real rock steady defenseman, right? And in this world, in the next 2 months, say, you get Dougie Hamilton back, which means in order to bring in that rock star defenseman, you're going to have Smith constantly playing forward, and you got to send Nemec back down. You do it?
I don't want to send Nemitz down, but you might have to. I mean, he's young enough. We didn't know we were going to see him for the full season this year. We didn't know he was going to be up as much as he is. And I like Nemitz. There is, and Nemitz has his things he could work on too, obviously. But in that situation, yeah, you do that because if it's going to shore up everything, it might change the whole defense.
I think he has the potential to be our best defenseman 5 years from now. But at this point, if we have Hamilton back and Luke Hughes, we've got kind of that style taken care of. We need to stop the pucks from going to the net. So I'm with you on that.
And we need some toughness.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's my
and that's where,
thing.
to me, that's that's where Chris Tanev comes in. He's not pushing the puck up the ice. He's not going to score you goals, but he is going to make sure if you get in the paint and you're getting our goalie's face, he's going to knock you on your ass. If you have your head down, he's going to lay you the fuck out, and he's going to just be responsible defensively.
Sorely needed for this team.
Yeah,
Definitely.
sorely. And it would change just having
Yes.
him and Brendan Smith on the ice together changes the entire complexion of this team. And
Personality change majorly.
Yes. I mean,
that's another thing, right? I've grown so fond of Smith on the wing. That's another winger we got to move, because if come playoff time, if we made the playoffs right now, I don't care what rookie you're taking off. Put Holtz down. Like, I want Smith on that lineup because of the way he plays.
I agree, and he's better on the fourth line wing than he is on defense.
Right.
So, and he still brings the toughness, and you could still throw him out there on the penalty kill, and he still works as a defenseman in that way. So, I have no problem with that.
How hurting we are for somebody who's defensively responsible and tough.
Yeah.
That we're willing to say that Smith is the paragon of that on this team. When we know he makes a lot of mistakes too, and he also takes bad penalties. He's, honestly the only guy we got playing that game.
Yeah.
And that's how important he is to the team.
And there's nothing worse. You watch a team right now who's obviously, when you're not scored, your guys aren't coming through. And then when you're soft also, it's such a boring game to watch. Like, you watch the Devils right now, and you just, like we were talking about momentum, like it's so different than last year. Our momentum changes in a minute. It's like, we come out flying for 4 minutes, something happens, some mistake, and that just deflates.
It looks like they suddenly get sad and it's over. Like,
it's night you totally saw it. Ask these guys, like, I know you missed the game. I mean, it changed. Like, that second period was bad, but there was a point in that third where the Devils came out flying for a while, and that was just,
Well, even the
done.
previous game was like that, Then you take the one penalty, and then they just shrunk.
And if you are a harder team, all right, not soft, not pushovers like this, these games like Carolina and Tampa, they probably aren't going that way. They're not going to wrestle back that momentum that easy, and it gives us a fighting chance. We score, we're happy, woo, and then a minute later you give it right back.
Yeah.
This is not the first time this has happened. It's to me, the problems that have been happening, like I've said, they've been the same shit all season long. Like, what's the fucking common denominator here?
Against the Carolina game, I was watching Stahl, and not only is he just talented, the work ethic of that guy, just to crank out and grind out every shift, never giving an opponent an inch. These guys are capable of playing that game, but almost no one is playing that game.
Right.
To make the other guy pay for every inch of ice, to be a difficult team to play against. I don't see that from anyone. They're chasing, they're running. When they get a little space, like, let me show you some flash, what I can do. That is not what I'm talking about. I need a team that's going to be professional and workmanlike and give no easy passes to the other team to just, okay, well, you've got this area now, and I'll look for my opportunity elsewhere. We're constantly backing away from the play.
Did
you see that turnover, Dan?
Hang on. No,
I have not seen it. Balls to turnover? No.
What you just described is exactly why I don't like Jesper Bratt.
Yeah.
That is why I don't like him. Because all your flash, all your fucking great skating, all that stuff, it leads to a bunch of shots that, anybody can pretty much save because they're so fucking wide or whatever. Like, he never gets himself in front of the net. He got lucky tonight. Vasilevsky had that puck and it trickled through, and that's the only way he scored. But like you said, when things get tough out there, when the ice is, you got to earn every inch, he just disappears. Jack Hughes is out there working, and he's such a level above everybody else that it does kind of come a little bit easier to him. But those guys work. For the most part, they're working. But I see when you take Jesper Bratt and in that Carolina game, he disappears. He might get some shots on goal, but he's not changing the game. Like, this was a dude that we gave really good money and a long term, and our superstar went down. This should have been Bratt stepping up and carrying this team as far as offensively. And he has been so far from that this season.
I just would like to see him at least give a shit about that. Like, if he looked frustrated out there, even found himself taking penalties because he's angry or something. I mean, I don't want him to take penalties, but you get my point.
Yeah.
It looks like he's just fucking like, oh, well, he doesn't seem like he really gives a shit about this.
And it's really strange to be talking this way about our leading scorer right now. He's still quietly the leading scorer. A lot of that's because Jack is out, of course, but like I said, I started the show by saying I was ready to indict him again for not showing up, and at least he got a goal, and he tries to drive. But to Chris's point, it's a lot of times it's just speedy down the wing and kind of a soft shot, and nothing comes of it.
It's all flash, no finish. Like,
a lot of his goals are in games where we have multiple goal leads too. You notice that?
Yes.
Like he is, when the party is on, he is a great addition to that party. He will come in and score some pretty goals. But when you need him, when you're down on, when you're against the ropes, and that's the problem here.
And you see it how, like, especially with Jack being out and the way the power play, like him and Brat connect on that power play. So, so often it's beautiful. He can set Brat up anywhere, but like Brat needs that. Like Hughes doesn't need that. And the other guys are mostly just hard workers, and they're going to just try and get in front of the net. The Toffoli's and the Myers and the Heischers. Those are our two main skill guys.
Right.
And it's really only one of them is I think worth anything. And if
we go when he's on, he'll come through in that regard too. He'll give you the hard working goals.
Right.
Like,
and if we go into the playoffs next year and Brat this season rather, and Brat disappears again like he did last year.
Yeah.
There's a serious problem there. Then we really have to sit there and say, wow, for 7 more years we have to deal with this.
I don't need a guy to make it, 7-2 instead of 5-2.
Right.
I need a guy to get us tied up, to get us back in the game when we need him, to get that one goal that we didn't think we were going to get. And when you need that goal and you don't know where it's coming from, do you ever feel like, don't worry, Jesper Bratt's on the ice?
No.
I just don't feel that way.
Nope. Yeah. I think like that all the time when Hughes is out there, but never when Bratt's out there.
Right.
And the other thing, we didn't even touch on this, is just by getting scored on first every single game, that just takes you out of the fucking game from Jump Street. Takes everything, your whole game plan of what you want. Now everything changes. And now you're chasing the game, and everybody's like, okay, it's one goal, might not be that big of a deal. When it happens all the time, trust me, it's a big fucking deal.
It's going to happen sometimes, but 2/3, you're right. That's huge. I mean, I think it would be, if you're going to be a winning team, you should be getting that first goal over 50% of the time.
Yeah.
Or maybe, but not by much.
Marginally over. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Just somewhat. But we're like so far under, we're giving it up 2/3 of the games. Is that what the stat is? That's crazy. That's way too much.
It's laughable.
You froze up on me. I'm sorry.
Always just say, okay, so 1-0 them.
Right.
Me?
No. We're good now.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Dan just disappeared for a second. He got quiet.
I'm here now.
I hear you. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's just they haven't been able to play their game, whatever that is. Defensively, it's just been a mess. I don't know. Again, how about we do accountability from last week? Since we can't make predictions this week because we don't have a game, so we'll make a predictions.
If
you guys
need
want
to regroup on that too to figure out how to make these predictions.
If the Devils don't have to be accountable, why do we? That's what I have to say.
Okay, I like that. So everybody gets
3
a point.
points this week.
All right, so I don't know if my buzzers are working. Let's check this before we do anything.
Just go,
Yeah.
You heard that?
I
didn't hear that. All right, we're going to end. You heard that?
Yep.
Okay, I can't hear it. So
just trust that it works.
I will. So I'll start with myself, who I've been batting 1,000 over the last fucking 4 or 5 weeks. I said that Kevin Ball will score his first goal of the season. I also said, now Dan and I both have predictions that might not come off the board until we start hockey again in a week and a half. So this is one of mine. I did say that the Tampa Bay Lightning game will be the last game Lindy Ruff coaches for the New Jersey Devils. So if he's behind the bench February 6th against the Avalanche, then that will be a wrong one. I said that the Devils will score 2 or more shorthanded goals this week. That didn't happen. Tony said that the Devils will pick up 4 out of 6 points this week. I'm just going to do that. But he did say that they will win one of the next 3 in overtime. Ding, ding, ding. That's the Vegas night game. You got the Tofolio OT one. And you said that Alexander Holtz will have 4 points in the next 3 games. Bobby, you said that Colin Miller will get a power play goal. He was on the power play, though, tonight, which was nice to see.
He did lose a game. He had a baby or something, right? So.
Yeah, he did. He was sick. He was sick, sick on Monday night. You said that over the next 3 games, the Devils would go 2-1-0. And you said that they would beat the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight 4-3. Goose egg
looking
so
good
far.
in the third there when it was 3-2 and they were coming back.
Yeah, you were.
That's a shitty week.
Now, Dan, you said that the Devils will get a shutout this week. You also said that an injured Devil will come back and get re-injured and miss a game. That didn't happen either.
It's a very convoluted choice.
I like that one, though.
And then your
Dan,
third...
I think when you get the shutout, you just win. I think when this happens, Dan just gets like
Blow up the
50
game.
points for the
Fair
fucking
thing.
year, and it's over.
For 1 million points.
I think I'm going to make a prediction for the next one. If we ever do ones that are maybe further ahead in the week, I would say something like the Devils' first shutout will be by a goalie who's not on the team right now. And they got a better chance of that. But, Dan, this is one of yours that we have to wait until next week for. You said Jack Hughes will win an event in the skills competition in the All-Star game.
Right.
So we
and
have to
added
wait.
to that, much to my frustration and
You
anger.
did. Yes.
Yeah.
2 on hold. As of right now, only 1 point was awarded this entire week.
Yes, and that was to Tony, who is
We're a bunch
extends
of prognosticators.
Let's
his
be
lead.
honest, I was a little surprised when I got that point in overtime against the Knights the other day.
That's true. The only point that was gotten was like just by a hair.
Yeah,
Really,
yes.
that's amazing. Like of all 4 of us, that's how.
And Tony's in the lead with 15 points. Dan is in second place with 11 points. Bobby is in third place with 8 points, and I'm in fourth place with 7 points.
See, now I know, like, in order to make this happen a little easier, instead of being optimistic and going the whole Devils will do 2 out of 3 route, I'm going to start going the Devils will do 1 out of 3 route and start picking up some points.
There you go.
Well,
It's
there is
good
the
time.
whole thing that I mean, you could if you want to win, just bet things that are going to happen. You pick up 3 points every week.
Right.
We're going to lose.
Kevin Ball's going to turn over the ball, in the third period.
I'll give
So,
you 3 points for the ball, though, if he turns over the ball.
right.
Yeah.
If he plays with the ball, you get 3 points.
Hey, that's what I used to tell her.
You guys want guys want to play a game?
I love to play a game.
The most interactive, fun-filled game in hockey podcast history. It's the Devil You Know. Today, it will be Tony who will be giving us clues to a... Yeah, you got it. Former New Jersey Devil player. Myself, Bobby, and Dan get the answer. We get 3 incorrect answers before we are eliminated. We can ask Tony any question about the player, and he can or cannot answer. It's completely up to him. Right now, in Season 2 of the Devil You Know, Tony is in the lead with 4 points. Bobby has 2 points. I have 2 points. Dan has yet to get on the board. Former Devil You Knows are Mike Dunham, Jason Arnott, Kevin Dean, Rod Pelly, Nick Palmieri, Kyle Quincy, and others. So we will start whenever you're ready, Tony.
Okay. Dan, I think you're going to, for some reason, I have some faith in you
I'm
tonight.
not feeling it this season.
I'm
This
telling
season's
you.
not my season.
You haven't sloped down in the chair all the way.
Yeah.
Getting there.
I'm getting there.
You're getting
I really
close.
am. There we
Hey,
go.
this former Devil was born in the USA.
Bruce Springsteen.
There you go. Ding, ding,
Ding,
ding.
ding, ding, ding.
Bruce Driver. This former Devil was born March 5th, 1981.
March 5th, 1981.
This former Devil spent 3 years in San Jose. In San Jose, he would play 173 games with 7 goals and 4 assists.
I have a guess. Is it Jeff Friesen?
No.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a great guess.
This former Devil was a left-shooting defenseman. There you go.
Oh, okay. I should have waited.
Should have waited for that.
Big delay. I should have waited. I didn't even hear it. I should have waited for the next clue before I said Jeff Friesen. He was a defenseman?
Yeah, left shooting defenseman.
Yeah. All right.
So he was
So this former Devil played 870 games in the NHL.
Wow. Okay.
This former Devil was 6'1".
Is he not 6'1" anymore? Is he dead?
Hey, as you age, you get shorter, so I don't know.
Okay.
No, 6.5.
He's 6.5 now. This former Devil would play 297 games, 5 years as a Penguin, where he put up 17 goals and 92 assists.
What team did he end his career with?
I'm not going to answer that yet, Mr. D.
How many other teams did he play for besides San Jose, the Devils, and Pittsburgh Penguins? Answer the question.
I'm going to hold off on that one, too. This former Devil was born in Minnesota.
Oh.
Minnesota.
This former Devil was drafted 62nd overall in 2000.
I feel like we should know this.
Ben Lovejoy?
Nope.
No.
Was he drafted by the Devils?
Yes.
Oh, wow. And then
in
went
what
to
year?
San Jose, and then came to us.
2000.
All right, so he was drafted by the Devils in 2000, played for us, then he left. He didn't come back, right?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you said we got him from San Jose.
Wait, what year did you say he was?
No, he was drafted in 2000, 62nd overall by the Devils.
62nd overall.
Born in
2000.
1980 or 81?
Born in 81.
Favorite color blue?
Favorite color blue.
Like
Canadian.
long
He did
walks
play
on
with
the
the Sharks, so I'm sure he liked those teal jerseys. They were pretty sharp back then.
They are hot, aren't they?
Yeah, they were
I
pretty
really
cool,
like
man.
them.
There's a new teal in town. It's Seattle.
Did you? You know what third jersey I really like? I've only seen them play with it once, but it's the Anaheim third purple jersey that they have.
What, like
That
throwback
looks
duck ones? Is it like
Awesome,
the-
yeah. Well, it's got a different crest on it, but it's got a little bit like the cartoony duck. But they're
okay.
purple. They're really really nice.
Yeah,
I like
well,
them.
you're a purple guy though. You're
I
a
do
Minnesota
like
fan,
purple.
so
Yeah,
I
like
get
purple.
that. Though. Eventually,
Which is
and I
where
know
this
we're-
devil you know is from.
Yeah, exactly. Right,
Yes.
and returning to that definitely. But I do have to ask you guys when we're done with this game. I just remembered the stadium jersey. We have to talk about that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, but yeah, so it's not Jeff Friesen and
No, and not
we got a
Ben
couple
Lovejoy.
No.
not Ben Lovejoy, and it is born in the United States, drafted in 2000,
I have a question.
62nd overall.
I have a question.
drafted by the Devils.
Played with
Was
the
he
Penguins.
on the 2003 Stanley Cup team?
I'm not going to mention that yet.
That's a yes.
He doesn't answer anything. This
I
guy.
know.
There's certain
He's like-
things, you
And
got to get along.
Usually gives
You guys
really random devils that nobody knows.
Well, this one's not going to be a random devil.
it
We
does
played
sound like it
over
might be
fucking-
somebody that we should
There was a
know.
lot of games. I feel
Yeah,
like we
come
should
on.
know this. You said it was like 290 something games or
Yeah.
something.
Yes.
I'm just trying to think of who played with Pittsburgh that long and then, came from here to there. And I'm drawing complete blanks. All right, give us some more clues.
blanks.
This former Devil joined the Devils for the 2003-04 season, playing 70 games in his first season, putting up 24 points.
So he wasn't on the Cup team.
There you go.
304.
Yep.
Wasn't on the 03 team either then.
No, he
He
wasn't.
joined the
on it,
Devils
so
in
he came
03-04
after.
for 70 games.
And that's all he played for us?
Nope. He
Oh,
played, what was it earlier? I said he played 100.
297.
Let me see here. I'll tell you in a second here. Well, we'll keep on going. This former Devil was a career plus 126 in his 870 games with 238 penalty minutes. This former Devil spent 6 years with the Devils. 400
wow.
games,
We should talk
26
about this.
goals,
Paul
137
Martin.
assists. Yes.
Paul
That's
Martin.
a
that's
fuck you.
beautiful.
Nice one.
Good job, Bob.
Good job, Bobby. Paul Martin.
We definitely should have known Paul Martin.
Yeah.
I mean,
He
he's
was a
one
big
of the
guy.
top 10 defensemen ever
Yep.
played for the Devils.
And
Yep.
my clues
And-
were pretty good, I thought, man.
I thought they were too. That
Yeah, but you
was,
didn't answer our questions. That's, the
That's,
part. that's
some of that.
It's hard, right? If you give it too early, you don't want to give it
No,
away.
my question.
I got to keep Dan in the
no
basement.
answer.
Dan's got a goose egg. The only shutout right now on this show is Dan's Devil You Know. So I got to keep that.
I'm finally getting my shutout. I'm doing it myself.
As he slips lower, all I see is his eyeballs now.
That's it.
He's like Monica Lewinsky at my desk.
We're going to switch over to.
Well, that's an old reference.
Yeah, I know. I mean, look her up, boys and girls. All right, so we'll do a little shout out to our DraftKings Hockey Podcast Network partner before we jump into the stadium season jerseys. So right now you can score faster than anything happening on the ice, and this week new customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets by downloading the DraftKings Sportsbook app now with code THPN. New customers bet just $5 on the NHL and get $200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www. So I was listening to XM yesterday at work, and they read the same ad on the like NFL channel, and I had my like earbud in, and I'm working, and I'm saying it out loud verbatim to what they're like. This is
What if you recorded it and just played it on here? When they said,
then I'd
Do you remember your Catholic
I record theirs and then play it. Okay, I get you now. What?
Did you have to do like CCD and all that stuff as a kid? You did all that shit?
No.
You didn't do the whole.
My God-fearing parents raised 3 atheists, and I think because my mother didn't want it to drive me to CCD is probably a good reason why.
That is a damn good reason. That's the worst place in the world.
First thing I ever quit.
Yeah, because I can kind of hear this ad better than the memories of prayers and church. Like I don't know if I know the Lord's Prayer as well as that.
Yep, that's how I feel. And I even know most of the Lord's Prayer. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2024. All rights reserved. Amen.
And also with you.
Amen.
All right.
Bob's been to a Catholic church.
Gambling problem?
So, do you want to read the email, or do you want to talk about the stadium jersey before we do some news?
The stadium jersey. I can't believe I didn't talk to you guys about this more, and I know it popped up in that little chat we had, but I didn't get to read all of it. I looked at the thing in 3 different pictures already, and I thought my phone was fucked up. Like, I want to like this jersey, guys. I think there's some things I like about it, but what is that color, dude? Is my phone fucked up?
So
what is going on?
I'm colorblind for the most part. I have very hard time telling. I have very hard time telling different colors apart. So I'm kind of glad that you brought this up, because to me, I'm looking at it and I'm saying this looks orange.
It's not just orange. Like it's like, do you ever have a color orange, like blown out, like where you put contrast up too high and it like it blows out all detail in the color? Yes. It's just like this weird solid color. It's almost like, I don't know. It's almost
it's supposed to be more of a fire type of
red.
Okay.
Slightly
so
different.
Do you
I'm
like
just hoping
it
looks better in person?
I do like it. I think it's the concept that we kind of talked about months ago. The last several months, that whole concept of the NJ without the circle around it has become kind of a bigger branding thing for them, which I like, which is odd.
You called that, actually. You called that.
It's different than the logo, but there's something about it that I personally like. I do like that it's, black and red.
And I do think that the one plus is that it's not nearly as horrible as the Islanders one. So we can
I just imagine, like, what if we had like the normal red in that instead of whatever that color that is?
I would agree with that.
See it. Yeah.
Me personally, I do not like this kind of slight change of the red, but overall, I think it's. Look, listen. There's things I would tweak. I think some of it's too bold. Some,
I wish it was purple.
Really and all that, but
that thing down at the bottom, way on the bottom, how it has like a different kind of bottom area, like in the front. That was cool. I don't know. I like
Tony.
I like all about it.
I like it. I'm going to buy one, but I did buy the black one too, so that doesn't say much. But yeah, I mean, I like it. I thought it was going to look a little worse, actually. I do agree about the red. It's I don't know. It's kind of like a little fiery, like you said. It's a little
orange red.
Looks like orange to me.
It's kind of like, I'm looking at it right now as we talk. And yeah, I mean, I like it. I'm glad they at least have the fucking symbol on it, and it doesn't just say Jersey across it. Because I saw a mock-up that was like kind of this color that said Jersey with I think the logos were on the sleeves or some shit like that. But
so there's a lot of people kind of ranking them online, right? And the consensus tends to be the Islanders at number 4.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And the Flyers is kind of plain, so they're
the Flyers one looks like their regular jersey.
So the Flyers and the Islanders,
they're hovering around 3.
I thought the Flyers and the Islanders, they look like the same jersey.
No, not the Islander one.
Islanders big old.
It's just big, ugly. Looks like a fucking Christmas sweater.
So
okay,
it says Isles across the middle in giant block letters. It's pretty ugly.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly. So the consensus seems to be either the Rangers or the Devils in 1.
Well, if I had to pick one, I definitely think we have the nicest one. I don't like
the Rangers was kind of lame.
It's kind of the same. I feel like they've done it before.
Right. It's just how else can we write Rangers or NYR just down the middle? I don't know. I'm not a fan of it.
The most boring name, the most boring logo in all of hockey.
I remember last year's, it was either the Winter Classic. I think it was a Stadium Series game. It was Washington against Carolina, and they both had these fire jerseys coming out. They were so nice. The Washington Capital one had the big eagle on it, right? And I forget what the Carolina one was. So I was like really hoping that it'd be something out of all 4 teams that would be really flashy and nice. And I just feel like, the Flyers didn't try. The Islanders have to fire whoever designed theirs. Marty was apparently involved with the Devils one, and the Rangers, of course, they just kept it fucking simple and boring.
If I had to pick any of the jerseys we've kind of thrown out there, any of them, right? For my favorite kind of alternate or third jersey, I like the Christmas tree jerseys they brought out for the outdoor game we did. I like.
I have one.
It was just enough, and it was totally paid homage to how we started, and I think that was just a really good jersey.
I have a Brodeur one of that with the green on it. I really like that one. I liked the retro reverse. I know Tony hated it because it looked like.
I like that one.
I like that
guys,
one
that's
too.
the only one I don't have. I have.
I like
one day
that
I'll show. I have piles of. I have every jersey except for that one.
See,
I thought that was so cool.
White.
You got a reason to go outside of color.
I paid homage to the origins. I liked it. But
I liked the Stars jersey last year. That I don't know what it was. That black and green.
One?
It was like that. Man, I thought that was killer looking. I mean,
it was a very weird, like what did you call that? Like a fluorescent green. Almost.
Yeah, it was pretty badass. I thought.
I would have liked like a straight black jersey with just like a red devil without the circle with the red logo, and maybe a couple of red, maybe a little bit of green, little green stripe somewhere or something. I would have really liked that.
The numbers maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would have dug that. Would have done well.
I think black with red on it is a good look.
Yeah, I think that would have been really sharp. But
they could have put like I saw one mock-up, maybe it was that had like the state emblem on the sleeve, which would have been cool.
Something like that would have been cool.
With the red and green and black, or whatever.
Like the Avalanche one has the fucking Bigfoot on their sleeve. That's awesome. I think the state
pork roll, egg, and cheese on the sleeve.
Yeah, pork roll, egg, and cheese. John Bon Jovi on one, and
Well, that's what one person posted. How every single one of the 4 stadium jerseys, it actually has the patch on the side. And it says New Jersey because that's where the actual arena is, even though it's New York Stadium.
They all say that?
So they all have to wear a patch that says New Jersey.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I really hope we don't lose that game. We're the only ones playing in our home state. Like, we can't lose it, right?
I was so excited for that Rangers-Devils outdoor game, but I just remember, like, it was just, boom. That was, like, such a shitty-ass game.
Such a nice hype, and then it was a shitty game.
I would be so proud of this team to come out big for those games.
Yeah.
I mean, that – because you're having a rough season, you're on a huge stage. Boy, the fans would love this. Just to see them come up and play some of their best games this season would be huge. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, even though the season's not going right. It's going sideways.
I'm still debating going.
I get why it'd be a really cool experience. And if they come through with these games in the Stadium Series, that's going to be some really nice treat for the Devils fans. They kind of need it. I think we kind of need it. Yeah,
and it's been a rough year.
I heard that some of the outdoors game. I heard it was really with that last one because I wanted to go to that, but I heard it was brutal. The weather was so cold. I heard it was just really tough.
Now we're trending warmer. That's number 1. Number 2, I'm not going to actually watch the game. I'm going for the experience. I mean, the whole thing from the tailgate on would be just the fun because the tickets I'm looking at. I mean, you talk about nosebleeds.
Yeah, what's the prices on those?
This is no nosebleeds in that
right
stadium.
at MetLife Stadium.
So you get $80 tickets right now for on the
Okay.
deck. I mean, that's very reasonable, really, for an experience. So.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you're paying for. It's the experience.
Yeah.
But before we read the email, do the news. I mean, Jack's got to be back, right, for February 6th. Like this, because I saw an interview with him, and they were talking to him about the All-Star game, and said, well, because he was on his way to Toronto because I guess him and his brother are captains, and they're each picking their teams. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but. So he was asked, like, well, you're just going up for that. Is it frustrating that, you're not going to be a part of the All-Star game? He goes, well, I didn't say I wasn't going to be a part of it. He's like, are you playing? He goes, well, we're going to see how things go. So he left it as basically, from what I got, he was saying he's playing in that game or at least in the skills competition. So, like, he's got to be back for February 6th.
I mean, can you imagine how crazy you would feel that he's out for how many games is it now?
Oh, God, like 12, 11?
10. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was just guessing 10 off the top of my head. And then he plays in the All-Star, and then let's say he's out like 3 more games even, or
Right.
2 more games, or even 1 more game after that. I think it's going to be like the most infuriating thing in the world. Like, please, I don't want you being.
There is no way on God's green earth that Lou Lamoriello would let anybody go to that All-Star game before they played for their team.
That's true.
There's no freaking way. I know that
wouldn't
things
let
have
him wear the
changed.
jersey.
Yeah, that's true too. But there's no freaking way.
Or have a mustache.
Or we can't have a mustache. So we got an email from somebody, Dan. Did you want to read it?
Well, I didn't. Yeah, I'll just read part of it. He brought up something that we were talking about a little bit in a prior show. This is from our buddy Mike DeCaro. He was talking about maybe some of the famous Lou Lamoriello firings,
Okay.
and other coaching switches. So he writes, I remember Robinson for Fittoric, which seemed insane at the time, but was a genius move to wake us up right when we need it the most. And I think that's the one that most Devils fans,
Sure.
cite
it
as
panned
like,
out.
wow. Oh, yeah, it panned out like in the best possible way. He also goes on to say, I remember him firing Claude Julien, with a few games to go after he lost the room and the team shot a puck at him in practice. Now, remember that? That was like, we didn't get any direct. I remember that story. I remember that story.
I don't remember that. So what happened?
Yes. The story goes, and I don't remember the details of the story. And I think it's more fair to say the rumor, okay, was that somebody in practice, and I can't remember who was rumored to do this, and I feel like maybe I heard 2 different names, so it was all, who knows, maybe it was all bullshit. Were pissed at him, and they shot pucks at him at practice.
At Lou or at Claude Julien?
No, Claude Julien.
So more than
Julien.
one.
He lost the room.
Wow.
And that was what this guy's writing and talking about. Like, hey, by the way, here's how bad he lost the room. What were you saying, Bob?
Oh, no, I was going to say, so it wasn't one puck. It is possibly multiple.
It was a bag of pucks.
Who knows? This is a very sketchy story, but let's just put it this way. The fact that the story's out there shows you that, he lost the room and something bad happened, right?
Oh,
Even if the story's out there, that's a weird story to go
Who was
around.
hired to replace him?
Let's see. Boy, he doesn't remind me there, and I'm trying to remember. Do you remember?
What year was it again?
Tony, who replaced Claude Julien as Devils coach?
Yeah, you are a resident Rain Man.
Yeah. Come on, Ray, man.
Put me on the spot, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Siri. You know what? I bet Siri, who doesn't even watch
Winning
hockey,
all
does
this trivia.
better than you.
You can't pull this one out of a hat.
But you're our Siri, bro.
Can't Google it
I
fast
didn't
enough?
actually hear the email. I went to do something really fast.
Claude Julien. Remember Claude Julien, the coach?
Yes.
Okay, who replaced him?
Chris is on it.
I hear some clicking going on.
I'm looking, buddy.
Savior.
Well, let me know, and I'll just go on with his letter here, because he was talking about you can't, he was saying Claude Julien had a team shot a puck at him in practice. You can't recover from that lack of respect. He also remembers Lou putting McLean out of his misery before Christmas and begging Lemaire out of retirement.
That
Lou.
was justified.
That's what he's talking about.
Who shot the puck at him?
Lou replaced Claude Julien.
Oh,
I remember that.
Okay.
He kind of says this, to go. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's So
Who
that
was it that shot the puck at him? Was it Niedermeyer? Wasn't it Niedermeyer?
I feel like that made some
Who the hell's
kind of sense.
Niedermeyer?
Remember, he's from Animal
It's
House.
Animal House, right?
Same thing as Nemec and Nemitz, you know. But yeah, there wasn't him.
But yet you're the only one that calls Scott Niedermeyer Needlemeyer.
This is true.
Definitely a Tony
Nemec's
exclusive.
name is kind of fucked up. Nemec.
And Timo, you call
T with
Timu. I keep
true.
on thinking of that Progressive commercial with the emu every
I'm
time
just
they
thinking
talk about
Timu Solani. When I'm
Timu
thinking,
Solani.
When you
both
guys start
think about
saying
names,
Nemitz, right,
right?
then you know.
But Tony, do you know like enough about those fucked up letters? Because you're in Lithuania.
I'm
The real
some of them,
letters,
yeah, the little
letter
squiggles
C.
over.
Yeah, the C has like a weird fucking thing over it. Is that why we're supposed to go Nemec or whatever you're fucking?
Yeah,
I can't-
I'm starting to learn that now because here it's the same thing. All the names here have these little symbols over them, you know, and that was one of the things I had a teacher over here trying to teach me some of the Lithuanian language. Like a lot of those, it's really it's a
Sometimes
pain in the ass.
like they'll have a line and be like, "Oh, okay, I can hear the difference." And sometimes they'll be like, "It means this" or "It means this," and it's like that's the same fucking sound, dude. I don't know.
Yes.
So, but that's why I can't learn Czech or what is he Czech, right? Whatever the fuck he is.
All right, so what else you got?
Yeah, so he's talking about he remembers, Lou putting McLean out of his misery and getting Lemaire back on the team. He goes on to say, and you know what? He makes a good point here. This might be his favorite version of Lemaire because we had Lemaire a few times, right?
Mm-hmm.
At this point, he was right to answer the media about anything with the Devils. Let me see here. He was so right because he almost got them in the playoffs after an absolutely brutal start. That's true. And he was also goes on to talk about DeBoer, right? They were great under him, and either if Fane could have hit or Kovalchuk could have, they could have gone all the way there with that. But I guess that's mostly the parts I wanted to cover with some of those firings, and because I feel like that is super timely.
A manager and just did what he felt he had to do. That's the point here, right? Like not afraid to do it.
Lou is kind of unusual. He is in some ways a throwback, but even like beyond like how hands-on he was with this team.
Come right down and start coaching.
Yeah. I mean, Fitzgerald, we've been lauding him a lot, but I mean, nobody's quite like Lou with that. Could you imagine Fitzgerald acting in that way and just, making some of those really hard-ass moves that you have to make if you're Lou Lamoriello?
Well, Lamoriello ran a whole different, think about how he ran things on that team. Like, it's funny because I hear people, I actually see it a lot on social media. The newer people who didn't watch those Devil teams, they talk shit about Lou, but there was a certain thing with those Devil teams. Like, hey, me and Dan, we have long hair, all these things, but I respected the fact you couldn't have this shit with that team. There was a certain thing you had to follow. And I love the fact that Lou would sit there on the bus and watch you walk on and check out what, I know everyone's like, oh, that's today's society. Yeah, it's hard for that to work because everyone's very, whatever these days. You can't really do that. But Lou controlled, like, he had it controlled, but he had to respect, because I hear a lot of the old players from that team. I listen to a lot of those old, the championship teams, and he had such respect. And Lou he was almost like an Uncle Lou. He would call you up, and he would knew when he was pissed at you. He didn't want to disappoint.
I think I shared that story I came across about Sheldon Surrey when he showed up to camp a couple pounds over.
Yeah.
And Lou, like, first thing he does, put him on a scale, and he goes, he just fucking rips him a new one. Like, how do you come here like that? Lou Lamoriello it's been, but I'm just saying, it must be so funny on some level to stand back and see this like, athlete in the prime of their life who's like 3 pounds overweight, and the fucking guy telling him he's a fat ass is Lou Lamoriello, who resembles Danny DeVito. Like, come on, man, you don't have that body. But you know what? He ran that shit, and you're right. He commanded that respect, and that's what Surrey said. It changed his whole career because he was Lou Lamoriello telling him to get his shit in gear.
In those years that the Devils won the Cups and they were always competitive and competing, there was nobody in the NHL that had a pulse on that league like Lou Lamoriello. Nobody. No. And, I do think that Lou is a little bit still stuck in his old ways to kind of maybe, get the Islanders where they need to be right now.
Right.
But
everybody's
for
saying
the time
that,
being, when he was there, he was the perfect guy. Yes. And I don't care what team it was that he took over. If it was the Devils, if it was the Ducks, he would have won cups with them. With that style he implemented. Him and Jacques Lemaire having the exact same vision of what to do with the team, and they organized it and executed it perfectly.
And they were right. And they were so right they changed the league so that style wouldn't work anymore, because the Devils and others had success with it.
When I was in Tampa, we would go to the Devils would stay at a place called the Vinoy Hotel over in St. Petersburg. This is during the Lou Lemaire era. And you would see like every morning, like you go watch the morning skate, they would basically come across. You could watch teams practice a lot. You would always see Lou and Lemaire walking to the arena together, and it was weird. But
you could always see them leaving the same room in the morning too together.
Exactly. No, but you just saw like there was a connection there.
Lemaire,
and that team, like I said,
room.
man, the Devils, you know, when you would even tell the way they carried themselves. That team, you know, was just well, there were some players I heard that didn't want to go there because of that. They didn't like, you know, some of these younger players that were coming in the draft. They're like, there was a rumor like you go to the Devils, you can't even have. I guess it was like you can't even have your chains hanging out of your.
Well, they used to lock them in the hotels at night and shit. Like, so if you're a young guy who wanted to like live it up, I mean, the Devils were like not the team to join. You know, he ran a tight ship. There was fucking curfews. They treated them like, you know, on
military.
some level. Yeah, but or like, you know, you're part of this club here, this team, and like they were all youngsters. And but you're right, they commanded a lot of respect. And then the team like did grow up, and they got some leaders who were like, yeah, you know, like just maybe, you know, like Stevens. He was perfect fit at the perfect time to you know,
and that's what this team needs. That's what this team needs. This team needs to mature. They need to, they need to mature, and it'll happen, and we'll watch it happen over the course of the next couple of years. But in no way, shape, or form does that excuse what's happening this season. Yeah. So,
and Dan, I want to say one more thing about that the curfews and stuff with these teams. About Bowman, you know, Scotty Bowman used to do this thing. I thought he used to take a stick, right, goalie stick, I guess, or whatever, and put it at the lobby door with the person who was working that night. And every player had to sign this stick, and it was collected at a certain time. You know, and I guess I don't know if they were auctioning them off or whatever, but you know, he knew where you were all the time. You know, Bowman, he would knew where if you were in that room because when they would pick up, say, I think curfew might have been 10 or 9 or whatever, that stick would be picked up, and if your shit's not on there, he would know. You know.
Wow.
Yeah, Bowman was a hell of a coach, no doubt. So, Tone, you got some news?
Yes, let's do a little bit of news tonight.
Oh, I missed that.
All right, Tony, what do you got for us today?
Okay, you know what I want to start this out with, though, before I do this? I want my daughter turning 3 this weekend, my daughter Mila. If you listen to the show and Daddy's dead one day, I love you, honey. Happy birthday.
Daddy is going to be dead one day. But
it's going to happen, but I just want to say, man.
Talk about your mother, you 3-year-old.
Happy
it was
birthday.
A great, hey man, 3 years old for my little daughter Mila. I took her to 2 hockey games last week. She sat through the whole thing, watched. You know, my daughter loves it. She's only 3, and to have her sit through 2 hockey games, full games, and just
that's
awesome, man. Yeah. So I
cool.
love my little daughter. She's 3, so I always want to say, not that she's ever going to hear this, but let's start out with. Did you guys see? Which I wasn't even going to bring
play
up
it
the story.
for when you die.
Maybe 1 of 10.
Please
listen to it.
Exactly. By that time period. You guys see the Trouba suspension? I'll start out with that, which I didn't actually have on the list, but
I did not see this. What is this?
Tell. Jacob
finally he
suspended?
Suspended?
Yes, 2
forever.
Games.
I hope.
No,
2
games he's suspended for elbowing because he elbowed Pavel Dorfea, I guess, for Vegas. So he got suspended tonight. So he's out for 2 games.
So another crazy elbow, right? What was that other game recently?
Yeah, the league, they seem not to want to do that to him, but he got suspended today. 2
the
games.
The league didn't want to give Tampa penalties tonight either. We didn't even discuss that.
That's true.
Yeah, regardless. Go ahead, Tone. I don't want to get off your subject.
That was one thing I wanted to bring up.
I didn't know that. I didn't know he got suspended, which is awesome. I think he should get suspended longer and more often.
Every day.
Yeah, 2 games. But yeah, so all this news is from the last week, because I was going to do it the last episode I was on. But so Kyle McLean took a rookie lap last week with his debut with the Islanders on Friday night. They lost to the Blackhawks in that game in overtime.
John McLean's son.
Kyle is the son of John McLean.
Oh, okay.
The former Devils, So, yeah, he's assistant coach for the team.
That's awesome.
Yes.
His son playing for him, that's pretty friggin' cool.
Must be amazing.
How'd he do?
Yeah, he was no points in that game, but he was an undrafted player. So that basically, I thought that was really cool. It's Devils related, and
I'm an
plays
undrafted
first
player.
Game. Exactly.
You're what?
Yeah.
I'm an undrafted player too.
That's true. I think we all are. Yeah. We should just.
I also did not get any points in that game. Me neither.
I'm an undrafted NHL.
John's advice to Kyle pregame was, "Don't forget to breathe. It's going to come quick."
Meanwhile, he's turning blue in center ice. He's just flopping like a fish. Breathe.
Maybe it was his wedding night advice. If you think
Yeah.
about it, could have been that.
Remember to
Don't
breathe.
forget to breathe, and it's gonna come.
That's just put your head in the pillow and clean up the snot bubble when you're done.
Snot bubble. The face wiping.
Craig Ferguson had about like 5 or 6 euphemisms for that tonight. There were, a snot bubble might have been one of them. It was pretty funny.
Okay. It's like I was there.
Mm-hmm.
What else you got?
This was a cool story. Keith Kachuk surprised his late teammate Pavel Dimitra's widow, Maya, with special news in a video that her husband, we all know Pavel, who was killed in a plane crash, when what was that? Back in, what year was that when that plane went down? God, I forget what the hell. I'll get to that in a second.
1979.
No. But Keith Kachuk, who's also going to be induced with.
He's going to be induced.
I just want to laugh here. I'm trying not to speak. And Dan's jokes.
Keith Kachuk's getting induced.
So Keith Kachuk's getting inducted into the St. Louis Blues Hall of Fame, and Pavel is also. So he called up the wife and let her know. Dimitri played 16 seasons, 8 of which were with the Blues from 96 to 2004. He ranked 7th in team history with 493 points, 204 goals, 289 assists in the 494 games. September 7th, 2011, he died in a plane crash, which I do remember this actually, traveling to Belarus. And there was a 21-year-old young devil that had played with the Devils on that plane too. Alexander Basunov. Yeah, I think he only had one NHL goal. But that was Ruslan Saleh was on that plane. Igor Korolev, Brad McCrimmon,
Ric Flair.
But the thing with those Russian planes, man, is it's a known thing around these areas is that
they fall.
They don't keep up with them. They don't keep up with them. No, they just they're run like.
I've heard
shit.
horror stories of guys that play in the KHL that came over from North America to go play in the KHL, and they're just like, it's a great league to play in if you're okay with putting your life in serious jeopardy every time you get on a plane.
Here's the thing: it's not just the aircraft. The aircraft are dangerous, but then sometimes
people below that shooting at you.
That's what I was going to say. Like, here's the other thing. No, it's not even that.
You better make sure you know everyone on that plane.
Well, here's what you don't want to see on that plane. You look over and like, oh wait, aren't you the journalist who just wrote something shitty about Putin?
Exactly.
And so, you're looking at the sky, you're like, this is all adding up. We're going to get blown out of the sky because there's a political dissident here. That's on the plane next to me. Because that's what happens.
That's why I would not play in the KHL ever.
That, and they haven't offered me a contract. That's the other reason.
I've heard it's actually they say too when you're a U.S. player and you go there, it's pretty rough. If you're not Russian, because those Russian coaches and stuff, they cater more towards the Russian players. It's a hard league. The traveling, the bus rides, and it's tough. Obviously, But I do remember that crash, and I remember it was like the whole team was just wiped out. It was Belarus. So we're in Florida, state law. The next story
Florida
now.
News.
Now we're going to the doom and gloom. So you got the funeral music.
I should have kept my mic on for that one.
I could see that in your face.
Oh,
you making another?
It was rough. It was rough.
Chris just shit himself.
Almost.
This just in.
Just in. Chris just shit
needs
himself.
to change.
Thank you, midget. Shocking report. All right.
Remember
wait, you had another item there, Tony. What's
your Florida story before we wrap up the show tonight?
I got 2 more stories. I got a Jersey story and a Florida. Actually, I got 3 more. In Florida, state law requires that people report a body that they come across. This is a thing there. But
body?
A dead body.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but failing to do so.
I saw a guy walking across the street.
Somebody.
Failing to do so can get you a misdemeanor.
Anybody.
Yeah.
I just walked into the gym and it's filled with bodies. I'm reporting it.
I see bodies everywhere.
Well, now you get a misdemeanor for it. Now it's now
I
you
see
can get.
people.
I didn't know you could pass up dead bodies.
I see living people.
According to the Senate, making the crime a felony would allow investigators to use search warrants to find dead bodies that have been illegally dumped. So I guess that was a problem they were having.
So of course it was.
Well, people will hide. It says people will hide, bodies to collect checks,
like
loved
Social
one dies.
Security
Yeah,
stuff,
Social Security checks.
This is the land of alligators. Just feed it to an alligator.
That's what I was just thinking. Like, Florida's got to be the easiest place to get rid of a body.
I don't think you can leave one out for more than 20 minutes.
No.
It's going to be gone. They're
you guys
taking
see that video?
toddlers and dogs.
It's like putting a fucking pristine couch out on the sidewalk. It's gone like that. Like,
Grandma, you guys see the video last month of that lady getting the torso? It was an alligator walking through the road in Florida. There was a woman in her mouth. Like it was crazy. They had a big thing on the news. Yeah, the alligator was just walking, but I don't know if it's Orlando or
she was dead.
Yeah, it was just her torso. He had it was an alligator walking across the middle of the daytime, just with this giant.
Somebody called to report that body.
Yeah, it was on the news. Yeah. They reported the body.
Yeah, there's an alligator walking down my street and half a body in his mouth. Oh,
they didn't get the misdemeanor. So I got 2 more for you.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Dog owners in Italy. Now you're forced basically to turn your pet's DNA over because now they will keep the DNA on record to find out who is not cleaning up their dog's shit.
No,
ridiculous. The government,
talk about a misapplication of DNA technology.
Of Bolzano City and the surrounding towns in its region is setting up a database for almost
what kind of dog shit problem do they have?
It's just
that they have to pass a fucking law, right? I walk around every time I almost step in a spicy meatball. Clean up your dog of meatballs.
What's the matter for you? No, I think I was going to say, it sounds something more the French would do. Like, we will find out who it is. One of you.
We will get to the bottom of this. Well, we know it is your Cocker Spaniel. I have the DNA.
So the veterinary department has said 10,000 dogs have already been registered. Once up and running, the abandoned shit could get you about a €500 fine.
I'm calling shit on this story. I do not believe any government
entity. It's true. I actually double checked the story because I thought the same thing.
That just
seems this has to be ridiculous.
Wow,
this
Tony is actually
kind of project.
I double checked my information. He's taking it. Right? He's fucking. He's checking his sources. This is awesome.
Are you fucking serious?
Tony A, Cub reporter, will not be. His methods impugned.
All right, Scoop. That sounds insane.
I'm calling dog shit on this story.
Dog shit induced. Ocean City, New Jersey. Police arrived at an apartment in Ocean City, New Jersey after receiving a call from a man claiming he had just killed his mother. When they arrived, they found 46-year-old Jeffrey Surgeon naked and covered in blood. He was also on top of a headless body of his mother, according to the documents. He called the police at 4 p.m. that day, admitting he's bipolar and killed his mom. There was a video found of his mom's head rolling through the hallway.
Oh, my God.
A surveillance video, showed the head roll out of the apartment at a high rate. And it hit a wall and bunched in the bushes. So
compared to other heads,
did he have his hand like you would a bowling ball, did he sidearm this thing like you do when you're fooling around with a bowling ball? Like, in other words, did he
throw it,
insert like a 3 fingers and then bowl?
Yeah, did he nose and mouth?
If you're committed to bowling with a head, what do? Do you do you actually try to find?
I'd probably kick it like ew.
Well, after he rolled the head out,
I just can't see any head rolling well.
Or
I would see no way you're rolling a head straight.
No,
it's going to turn to the right or the left.
Heads are easier than others.
I think Bobby's head
That's
might
how
be
big the head is. Yeah, I think you could roll.
Bobby's head's a little oblong. I think you got to stay in a linear, straight line with it, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But if you get that, I don't know. Tony might have the roundest head.
You have to get rid of his hair, though. You have to shave his head. But still, no matter how you cut it, the nose has got to get in the way. How are you bowling?
So.
Yeah, the nose is going to just pop it up. You're not going to be able to roll a good head with the nose. If you cut the nose off, you might have a shot. But then where are you putting your fingers?
I know.
Well, in the video,
bowling with your human head is extremely flawed.
I feel like only one person in New Jersey knows the answer to these questions, and it's the guy.
It's John Surgeon, right? What's his name? Surgeon?
John Surgeon.
Probably
Sergeant, I believe. Sergeant or some shit. But in the video, they saw him roll the head out, and then they saw him peeking out the window, and then he also was singing "Jesus Loves Me" as the police came and arrested him.
Well, so at least he's down with the
Lord. He will
Lord.
not be released on bail.
Wow, that's
pretty.
I didn't hear about that story. That's only an hour
I've been
away.
To Ocean City. I like that. But I also feel like maybe this happened because it's a dry town.
Do you think if he was drunk, he would be better? Maybe. Do you think if he was able to be like, you know what? Before I fucking get naked, cut my mother's head off, and try to bowl with it, I'm gonna go get myself a 6-pack. Yeah. Right. Like I'm just gonna chill the fuck out before I do anything that I might regret.
Maybe it puts me to sleep.
I think that you're right. I think we can completely blame the municipality of Ocean City, New Jersey on that one.
I stayed in a hotel there once that is was already like a haunted hotel, and I feel like this is probably where it happened. It's like basically The Shining of New Jersey, Ocean City. I got up some pictures of this place too because when we stayed there, I'm like, what is this fucking place? It was so weird. It had like this old, one of those like tubs that are like, I don't know, like like the
Filled
old
with
clawfoot
blood.
bath, but it wasn't like nice. It was a shitty place, had like exposed like electrical, but
Nice.
it sounds like a haunted hotel.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Guilford
I think
Hotel.
that's probably the same
Did
place.
it have a fucking condemned sign over the door before you walked in?
It should have. It should have.
Right. All right. I think we're going to wrap it up for tonight. We will be back next week, even though there's no hockey to talk about. Bob, did you have something you wanted to throw in? I'm sorry.
Just want to plug the most exciting hockey game I've seen in the last couple of
I
weeks.
saw this.
And it was my kids' elementary school league play this morning.
Yes.
They were down 10-4 going into the third period. With 48 seconds left, they tied it at 10-10. Coach called a timeout, created a set play. 12 seconds later, game-winning goal. And then they had to hold it off for 36 seconds. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen from a bunch of 7 to 11-year-olds.
That's awesome.
That
It
is
was
so cool.
It was a comeback of comebacks.
Wow.
It was very special to
Maybe we should get that coach
Yeah.
and bring him in.
One of our
I'm
future
down with
goaltenders,
that.
10 goals. Jesus.
Was right? Was the other opposing coach named Ruff by any chance?
Not that I know of.
Oh,
And
my
it was
God.
especially good because this goaltender on the other team, which it's a rivalry. It's kind of like if it was Brick and Tom's River, so it was really close. Was actually the best goaltender I've seen to date.
Yeah.
So it looked like it's the game started off really well in the first period, like 2-2. It looked like they were just playing the best fundamental game we've seen all year. Second got out of control. Sounds familiar, right? And then the third is just like, well, if we get 1 or 2. And the way they came back on this goaltender, who, again, is the best I've seen so far this year, was just kudos to these kids, man, because apparently the coach had heard the kids talking on the bench saying, well, I guess this isn't our game. This one got away. And he talked to them about it after, about the lesson you just learned from this coming back from 6 goals down. So
That's
So,
impressive.
Bobby, how's that parent interaction there? Because I know, I used to coach baseball actually in Florida, and man, the fucking parents. Is it like
Nah, it's
is
a
it
good
controlled
group.
there?
Good
That's
group,
good, man.
Tom.
Because that's I don't know how like all you guys had your kids in sports and stuff, but man, some of those parents,
It's an elementary
insane,
league,
especially
so
hockey.
they have to take anyone from like 5 or 6 years old up to 11. So
Sorry.
there's a big disparity of talent. So you just kind of accept it that you might go out on a line with somebody who's 6 years old. It's just what it is to get ice time. So everybody's really cool. It's not a
Yeah, that's how
it's
when
not a
I
pay
coached
league.
hockey. When I was coaching hockey for like 3 years with those kids, because we moved from like U6 to U8 to U10,
Yeah.
and when you're in U8, we did bring a couple of kids up that were a year or two kind of below, but we were able to get them in because they had played with the same team for a couple of years. All those parents, I never dealt with one asshole parent. Like they were
That's
just
awesome.
awesome and grateful, and the kids, as long as the kids are having fun and learning, they were awesome.
Yeah, so, I mean, to put it in
but they were also
perspective-
young. I think maybe when they get older is when
This-
the
this
asshole
is-
parents
Competition
Well, you're
starts
absolutely
stepping up
right.
and
This is
starts
like a
happening.
six-
Once you get into high
$600
school, the parents get fucking nasty.
right.
Yeah, this is like a $600 school league so that they stay with their peers who they're going to go to school with all the way through high school. This is not the $3,000 travel league. I'm going to be
Right.
the asshole
The
with the
travel league.
$3,000 travel league.
I'll tell you what, I played with a lot of guys who coach the travel leagues, and it gets fucking crazy, dude. The parents are maybe in some ways worse than the high schoolers.
Yeah.
Because the travel leagues, like, which one you're going to be on, which part of it, and like, they're constantly like these parents are talking shit about each other's kids. They're getting in fist fights.
That's fucked up.
It's
I see it at
insane.
baseball too.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Stay
Yeah.
classy, parents.
It can be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. There's a lot of good
it
people.
shouldn't. It
in
shouldn't.
youth
It's
sports.
not about you. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not about you. It's about the kids. But no matter how old they are. So we are going to wrap this one up. Like I said, we will be back next week. We will discuss the All-Star game, and maybe there'll be some Devil news this week. If so, of course, we will be getting on and talking about that. Wherever you're listening to us, a like, a 5-star review, a positive comment, a subscription, a download goes a long way in helping us promote this show, which we appreciate. All you guys that do check us out and drop us the emails and just make this kind of a lot more fun. So we appreciate you guys. For Tony, Dan, Bobby, I'm Chris. We are the Uncle Puckers, and we'll see you when we see you.
Peace.
Hook is out.
Bye-bye.